Hi everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the corporate world, one filing at a time. Today we're diving into Zurn Elkay Water Solutions' latest report. Get ready for some shareholder meeting drama, or maybe not, depending on how excited you get about plumbing fixtures. But before we dive in, if you appreciate us getting straight to the insights from these corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below. Come join us. Alright, let's dive into the Form 8K report that was filed in May of 2025. For those not familiar, an 8K is basically a corporate breaking news report. It tells investors about major events. In this case, it's largely about the company's annual meeting. This report is triggered by the events of their annual meeting on May 1, 2025. Let's see what went down. First off, stockholders okayed an update to something called the Performance Incentive Plan, or PIP. Think of PIP as the plan that determines how company executives are rewarded. Basically, it's how they get bonuses or stock options if the company does well. The update was to increase the number of shares available under this plan. They're adding 2.5 million shares to the mix. This means there's more potential for executives to get stock-based rewards. Now let's get into the voting results. This section is all about how shareholders voted on different proposals. First, they elected 4 directors to the board, meaning shareholders voted to approve them being on the board for 3-year terms. Directors basically help set the direction of the company. Let's look at a table which shows who got elected and by what margin. Mark Bartlett, for example, received about 147 million votes in favor, with about 8 million votes withheld and 7 million broker non-votes. That's about 94% approval. It's a pretty strong endorsement of his position on the board. Don Butler also got a similar level of support with about 94% of votes cast. Next up is Timothy Zhanke. He secured about 149 million votes in favor and roughly 6 million withheld, resulting in a 96.1% of for votes cast. Finally, David Longrand received an impressive 153 million votes for and about 2 million withheld, making him the highest approved candidate among the 4 with 98.4% for votes cast. Now let's talk about the directors who are sticking around. Thomas Christopole, Emma McTagg, and Peggy Troy are staying on until 2026. And then Todd Adams, George Moore, and Rosemary Schooler have terms that last until 2027. Okay, next up is an advisory vote on executive pay. Shareholders get to give a thumbs up or thumbs down to how much the top executives are making. It's non-binding, meaning the board doesn't have to listen, but it's a good temperature check. For this one, about 10 million votes were cast for the compensation of these top executives against about 45 million against. That's about 70%, which isn't an overwhelming endorsement. It means about 30% of the shareholders aren't happy with it. That could signal some tensions between shareholders and management. Remember that performance incentive plan we talked about earlier? Well, shareholders also got to vote on that. The vote came back with about 152 million for it and only about 2 million against it. That's a solid 98%, so everyone is happy with that. Finally, they ratified Ernst & Young as their independent accounting firm. What that means is the shareholders voted to approve Ernst & Young, a well-known firm, to check their books. This one had about 59 million votes in favor and only 3 million against. That's almost 98%. It's a pretty routine thing. Now for my take on all this, Zurn Elkay appears to have had a pretty standard annual meeting, at least as far as corporate filings go. The directors were re-elected, so shareholders seem to be on board with their strategic direction. The vote on executive compensation being only 70% means some investors are not happy with how much the executives are paid. This could be due to recent performance or simply a philosophical disagreement on executive compensation being only 70% means some investors are not happy with how much the executives are paid. This could be due to recent performance or simply a philosophical disagreement on executive compensation. It's something to watch going forward. The approval of Ernst & Young as their accounting firm is as expected. It ensures that the company's financials will be audited by a reputable firm, giving investors confidence in the numbers. Overall, nothing jumps out as a major red flag or cause for alarm. The company seems to be running smoothly from a governance perspective. However, I'd keep an eye on the executive compensation issue. If that dissatisfaction grows, it could lead to bigger problems down the road. Alright, that's our breakdown of Zurn Elkay's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.